Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Something just fell over there. I hope everyone had a great week and weekend, and I hope you guys enjoyed my last video. I had a lot of fun filming it. So just welcome back. For you guys who don't know me, my name is Jordan MacLean. I'm here every Tuesday and Thursday to tell you about a true crime who's happened here in Canada while I do my makeup. So today's going to be a little different. I am doing a true crime that has nothing to do with anyone dying, but it has everything to do with incest and kind of like a cult in Canada. I'm always fascinated with cults. I love them. And this one, I was like, when I read it, I was like, that's crazy. I was originally born in Nova Scotia. And when I brought this up to my family, they're like, oh yeah, we know the Glovers, I think is how you pronounce the name. The Glovers. G-O-G-O-L-E-R. It's glowers. So I brought it up to my parents and they just straight up said that, like, those guys were messed up, like, when this happened. But it was like a long time ago. Well, it wasn't that long ago, so they knew exactly who they were. They said they're from the South Shore and everything like that. So I'm super excited to get into this. Also, make sure you guys like and subscribe, follow my socials, and if I get 5 more subscribers, I'll be doing a giveaway. So make sure you share this video, get it out there, like, subscribe, get the notification thing going so I can get to my 100 subscribers so you guys are able to get maybe a free t-shirt of Thriller Thursday or True Crime Tuesday. So let's get right into it. So today's kind of a short one. It's not going to be that long, and my face is just not happy with me lately. So yeah, I'm just going to get straight into it. It's going to be a short video. I'm going to do just some natural, I always say this is everyday makeup. And then I just go, Beow. So I'm just going to do some short, natural makeup today for this video. So let's get right into it. So the Glowers live together in 2 shacks in kind of a remote wooded area in Nova Scotia near the South Shore. Oh, I just dropped my makeup brush with my foundation on it. So yeah, they just lived in a little community. Look at that, right off the bat. So they lived in a little community, just 2 shacks, kind of isolated themselves. They just kind of hung out with each other. They weren't the most exciting people. In the community of White Rock is where they lived, outside the town of Wolfville. Like most of the mountain clans back in the day, they were isolated from most of the residents on the farm. They were mostly a farming district in Annapolis Valley and most of the nearby towns. So they were known pretty much to be the farmers of the communities, and that was it. Nothing really too exciting about them. The Glowers adults, some of whom had like intellectual disabilities, had little schooling, so they were mostly like up to grade 4 schooling. That was pretty much it, and rarely worked anywhere besides the farms that the Glowers had. And one sibling, Cecil, he was born from 1939 to 1991, was a nonverbal and born paralyzed from the neck down. That would be a tough life to live, honestly. Nonverbal and born paralyzed from the neck down, that's tough. I'm dropping everything today, oh my god. So the Glowers supported themselves through social assistance, welfare. They did the occasional labor job, working at farm jobs just here and there, but they were like very just themselves type of people. They didn't really interfere with anyone. They didn't get in anyone's way, and they were just kind of known as like a typical hillbilly type of family, which is okay. They also, if they didn't have enough money and they couldn't find anything, they would go fishing. They would forage for berries and other fruits, go hunting, just what they could just to keep the kids alive. The children were generally forced to perform for minuscule chores such as preparing food or removing the trash. Garbage was simply thrown into the attic until it was completely full, and then the adults would make the children haul it out, and they would most likely burn it. So again, they just were simple people. That's all they were just too simple, just not hurting anyone, living by themselves, not doing anything to really cause a stir to anyone, just that's all they were just simple people who kept to themselves and didn't hurt anyone. So from about the 1980s, I don't know, I was going to say 70s, a couple of the kids who were going to outside schools and stuff started to come out and say that they have been getting abused by their family members, but a lot of them didn't believe them. And then they would bring them back to the family who was abusing them and be like, here's the kids that just fibbed on you. And then the kids who were getting abused, and once they got brought back, would then get punished for this. It doesn't quite say how they punished them, but they got punished pretty hard about this. So like I said, it's just going to be an everyday simple look today. Nothing too exciting. I just feel like doing something super simple. Plus my skin isn't really enjoying itself lately, if you know what I mean. So then in 1984, one of the children, who was like a 14-year-old girl, revealed the details of a long history of torture and abuse, physical, sexual, and psychological, to a school official. This is like a new eyeshadow primer, and it just feels like putting Vaseline on my eyes. So that's cool. So she told this school official that she was being sexually, physically, and emotionally being abused by her family members. And this time they bought it. They said, we might want to like attempt to look into this because this might be something serious. So according to further details uncovered by the RCMP, which is, if you're not from Canada, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, this abuse and forced incestual relationships. So this little girl was having incest relationships with her family members, which is probably the worst thing you could possibly do to a child, in my opinion. So she was having incestual relationships and had been taking place for multiple generations. As the case was investigated, authorities learned that a number of the Goler's children were victim of a sexual abuse at the hands of fathers, mothers, uncles, aunts, sisters, brothers, cousins, and each other. During interrogation by the police, several of the adults openly admitted and even boasted about engaging in many forms of sexual activity, up to and including further intercourse multiple times with their children. They often went into graphic detail, claiming that the children themselves had intended that they wanted this. Like they were saying that the kids wanted this. This is something the kids wanted the parents to do, which I don't think so. But when I was reading this case, a lot of the people who were involved with it, a lot of like the Glovers, they have such low IQs that they didn't even know what they were doing was wrong. They never went to school. They would show up. Like the communities around the Glovers knew them as kind of like the strange people, you know, the mountain people who you only see every like once a month. They come down, they buy groceries, they get their medication, they do whatever, and then they peace. You know, that's the only time these people saw them. So they kind of knew them as they're a little strange, but they're not like that crazy, right? Well, then this came out that they're inbred. Literally what the cops found was these people are inbred. Excuse me. But that's pretty much what they were saying, that the mothers were marrying the brothers and they kind of kept the bloodline not tainted by only sleeping with each other. When this case happened, it was pretty big. It's a small rural town in Nova Scotia. This never really happens. Oh, I'm gonna mess this up. Actually, not that bad on that one. First time. But you know what my problem is? I can never get them to match. So we will have to see. So eventually, 15 men and 1 woman was charged with hundreds of allegations of incest and sexual abuse towards minors and children as young as 5 years old. Like, given the details and the confessions by the accused, they were like, we ain't going to trial. We know that these people did it. They know that they did it. We're not going to trial. However, they got prosecution. They got lawyers, and the lawyers told them not to plead guilty. So they recanted their initial statements, and then they said, no, we are not guilty. So then eventually did go to trial. This case was huge to Canada, just because you've never really seen this before. There was a clan of about 20 people who were having incestual sex with each other all the time. It was huge. There was only one full-time prosecutor at the time who kind of dabbled in handling 1 to 2 rapes per year, and that was it. And now he's dealing with more than 1 rape, more than 1 sexual assault, more than 1. He was dealing with assaults, sexual assaults, incest. It was huge. It was a huge case for him. And put my other eyeliner on off screen because I struggle with that stuff. So 13 of the accused received jail time, and one of them served up to 7 years in jail. I'm just going to make this one a little bit sharper. There we go. So they did serve up to 7 years in jail. They brought to a greater attention of the living conditions of the poor Kings County residents, not only in the northern mountains and south mountains where 4,000 people were living in poor conditions, but in the rich farmlands around Kentsville and tar paper shacks. They lived in horrible conditions. They lived in, like I said, tar paper shacks that they just like put together with landscapes. It was pretty bad. The communities had been surrendered by society, forcing them to look inwards into supporting more families like this because of how isolated and stuff they were. They realized that there needs to be a little bit more done. These people can't just be out here living like they have no law or anything. Like, they pretty much just did whatever they wanted out there. And they kind of realized, hey, there needs to be some sort of supports going onwards for families like this. Authorities had largely ignored them for centuries or more, despite documents dating back to the 1860s that showed that this family was doing incestual relationships for years and years with birth defects, mental retardation. Although the county's low-income housing society had been working to build hots for homes for these people, it wasn't coming anytime soon. So what they found was, through years and years, when these people were having kids and they brought these kids to hospitals, they kind of realized, like, this blood is very similar, like the blood work and everything, to mommy's brother or stuff like that. But again, they kind of just like let them do whatever they wanted. They didn't care. They were like, yeah, these people aren't hurting anyone. They're just living in the mountains and doing their own thing. That's all anyone ever thought of the Glowers, until the little girl spoke up saying that she was being sexually assaulted by her father and uncles and brothers. And they finally did something. They did an investigation and they said, oh, we should probably look into this. And when they did, they were like, why does mommy have the same genetic makeup as daddy? That's not okay. So due to the graphic nature of this crime and having children there, a lot of it was not allowed to be published because of having the kids' names and all that, right? If you've been on the show, you know publication bans happen, And this was another one of those things. But since like the crime itself, it blew up. It blew people's minds that this was happening. And everyone wanted to know, like, how did generations and generations just like slip through the cracks, and people didn't realize that these people were inbred and sleeping with their kids and marrying their kids and having children with their own siblings and stuff. Like, it blew people's minds. Like, how did this happen? Why is this still a thing? So there was a book written, which I think I might look up and try to buy, because I was like, I couldn't find that much on these people, but what I did find made me want to know more. So the book was titled On South Mountain, The Dark Secrets of the Glower Clan. And it was written and published in 1998. I cannot read today. Sorry. And it told their stories in details, what they grew up like, what it was like living there as a child, what it was like being, you know, a parent who was sexually assaulting their own kids. So one of the little girls, her name was Donna Glover, or Glower. I want to say Glover just because that's a celebrity. She was one of the abused who was removed from the clan and her household when she was 11, had become an outspoken activist for strict child abuse laws and for stronger protection of children from convicted child molesters. She believed that, you know, we need to do more out here for these kids when this happens. Donna's testimony were described by both the prosecutor and the defense attorneys as the most important evidence that sent this trial that got these guys convicted. A year after the book on South Mountain was published, she began a long fight to do the criminal code, to revise the criminal code, saying that it failed to protect the young relatives and convicted child molesters. So my final thoughts on this case, they went to jail, and that was that. So my final thoughts about this case is, it's a tough one, because these people were born into a clan where this was accepted, where they said that, hey, you know, we've been sleeping with the kids and marrying our sisters for years, so why is it now a problem? It was all they knew. Half of them didn't have education. Half of them didn't know what the word incest was when it was brought to them in court. They had no clue what that word meant at all. They did not know the word incest. They all had birth deficiencies. They were born with some sort of mental lapse or some sort of disability in their life. So again, what they said about how the RCMP and the government should have been checking on these people. They're isolated, living in shanty shacks, living in just like small plated, like the shacks were horrible. I saw photos of them, like, and there'll be like families of six in there. Like Nova Scotia, when I grew up there, I didn't really grow up there, but like I know tons of families back there who have like 9 or 10 kids. Like, that's just natural. Nova Scotia is like, we still got those Christian and Catholic views of having 18 kids kind of stuff. So that's what it's known for. So these guys are just popping out kids. Little did they know it was with their brothers. Like, they knew they were doing it with their brothers, but they didn't know that it wasn't okay. And this isn't how society functions. Again, they lived out in mountains. They kind of farmed. They threw their garbage in attics until the attics got full. You know how smelly that would be in those tiny tents where they couldn't, like the walls are like this. You smell that. In the hot summer days of Nova Scotia, you're smelling some garbage. And it's not smelling nice. But they didn't care. That's just how it is. So I do feel for these people due to the fact that society let them down with no help whatsoever. They're getting food stamps. Well, they're not getting food stamps, but they're getting social services. They're doing all that. They're making money, but for what expense? No one checked on them to see how they were living. No one was asking if they needed help. People who would come to town. They would see them once a month and be like, "Oh, there's the crazy people again," and let them leave. Little did they know that half the kids getting sexually abused. Like, it's crazy. When I read this, I was like, oh, this is a crazy clan, right? Got shut down eventually. Like, No one's in that clan anymore, I can tell you that. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think like this is something that the RCMP let people down on due to the fact that no one checked on these people? They were raised doing this, so they just assumed it was okay. They were saying back in like the 1800s or 1880s that they were doing this, that this was something that they thought was okay. They were allowed to have incestual relationships with each other. So they just kind of kept it going until somebody, and kids did try to tell people that this was happening and no one was listening. So whose fault is that? That's the RCMP and the school who is like, nah, you're good, you can go home. Like, I don't know. I think it's a tough one. What they did was wrong, 110%. They did wrong. However, they don't know any better. They have no education. They had no help. They had nothing. This is what they grew up on, and they think it's okay. I guarantee the parents who were sexually assaulting that child were sexually assaulted in their past. They probably did. They probably married their aunt, because that's okay in the clan. So let me know what you guys think. This was a little bit different. It wasn't one of my normal murders or whatever cases. This was a little bit different. So let me know you guys' thoughts down below. So remember, I'm here every Tuesday and Thursday for you guys. Make sure you like and subscribe. All my stuff, like and subscribe this thing, do the notification so you know when my next videos are coming, and follow my socials. That'd be greatly appreciated. And if you can get me to 100 subscribers, I'll be doing a little giveaway. So let me know what you guys think, and make sure you guys like and subscribe and share this video. Get out there. So I will see you guys on Thursday. So that's it. That's all. That is the story of the Glow clan. All right. I hope you guys really like this video, and I will be back on Thursday. Bye.